Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones is directed by George Lucas and stars Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, Christopher Lee, and a lot of other people. This is my least favorite Star Wars movie. And I feel like that's actually pretty common. A lot of people, back when the prequels first came out, a lot of people were considering Phantom Menace to be their least favorite. But now I feel like it's definitely changed to Attack of the Clones being taking that spot of everyone's least favorite. For good reason, too. Now, you're hard-pressed to find a Star Wars movie that it's so unwatchable. There is one out there. There is one. This one isn't. There is a couple things I like in it. And since that's a very short list, I'll run through it. Ewan McGregor is great as Obi-Wan. I said that in Phantom Menace, and he's consistently great throughout this entire trilogy. Very excited for his spin-off show on Disney Plus, which I also mentioned in my Phantom Menace review. Ian McDiarmid is always great as Palpatine. I don't mind Obi-Wan's little side quest thing. There are some moments that bother me, but for the most part, I like it. And I like the explanation of the clones and stormtroopers. I think that's really well done. That's my very short list of things I like about Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now onto my negatives. Unlike Phantom Menace, this one is all CGI. Phantom Menace had more practical effects than special effects, which I always find astonishing. Because, we always call the prequel films CGI heavy, but that first one does not have a lot of CGI in it. Instead, this one is the one that starts with CGI. You can definitely tell because, there's a little thing right there. See that thing? That's not supposed to be there. And the CGI, now I don't know. I've seen a lot of early 2000 movies, and their CGI isn't the best. So, I don't even know if this looked good at the time, but it definitely does not look now. If you were alive back then and saw the movies back then, did it look good back then? It definitely doesn't look good now. I feel like it doesn't just because, in 1993 we had Jurassic Park. And that had CGI, just saying. And yeah, this Star Wars movie is definitely the worst use of CGI in any Star Wars movie. Definitely. Revenge of the Sith still is CGI heavy and has a lot of it, and so a lot of shots can be bad, but it's done way, way better in that one. Speaking of CGI, the CGI Yoda. I don't like it. I feel like that was a stupid addition. It kind of ruins Yoda's character, everything that was established all the way back in Empire. It ruins it. The two CGI armies, because there's not a real clone there. None of the clones are real, except for Jango and Boba. None of the clones are real. It's just two generic CGI armies fighting each other. That gets boring after a while. This is probably one of my least favorite lightsaber duels, the final duel in this movie. It's so boring. It's so poorly done, and then it just gets worse when CGI Yoda fights CGI Christopher Lee. I don't like it. Count Dooku. I've never been a big Count Dooku fan. I love Christopher Lee, and I should love him in this movie, but I just don't. And that also affects character, but even in Clone Wars, I was never a big Count Dooku fan. I'm my least favorite. He always felt useless. All the acting is bad for the most part, but here's the thing: you got some phenomenal actors in here. Natalie Portman is great. Ever see Black Swan? Samuel Jackson. I mean, that's Samuel Jackson. So it's definitely a script issue over actor issues in this case, and the entire prequels case, because you got, I mean, Phantom Menace had Liam Neeson, and Liam Neeson is also a phenomenal actor. Hayden Christensen is often regarded as the worst part of these prequels at points, and I'm a little hit or miss on that, because once again, he suffers under a poorly written script. Now, I don't think he's ever Oscar nominee actor, but he's put in good performances over the years, and he's a very good facial actor. I love, from the moment, spoilers, from the moment when his mom dies, to him slaughtering the Tuscans, to him bringing his mom back to his stepdad's farm. I love all that because he barely has any speaking lines, and it's all just facial. It's all facial, and it's really well done. And then it's ruined by not just the men, but the women and the children too. It's ruined by that poorly done script. Now, the main thing about this entire movie is a love story that you cannot buy. The two actors have no chemistry, and George Lucas writes the story so painfully awful. It's feels like you're getting knife stabbed in your heart. I just can't handle it. And the worst part is, up until Revenge of the Sith, I don't know if Last Jedi's longer. I don't know, actually. I believe this is still the longest Star Wars movie. I don't know if Last Jedi is longer or not. But this movie is painfully long. It feels like it never ends. Boba Fett is ruined in this by making him a little child. Now, of course, there are ways to show a slightly origin of Boba Fett without ruining it. In fact, there's a phenomenal book called Boba Fett, where he was a child. And I don't know if it's still considered canon, but it was for the Disney buyout. And that book series was great. I love that book series. It was really well done. And I actually liked Boba Fett even as a child. Clone Wars, child Boba Fett, I like. So, there are ways to do child Boba Fett. This was not one of them. So yeah, this is just a mess of a movie. And definitely the worst Star Wars. I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones 30 clones out of 100. This is definitely the weakest one. It's always the one that I choose. If I'm rewatching Star Wars, it's always the one that I dread watching or sometimes just skip. And the worst thing about this movie probably is the fact that everything in it and in Phantom Menace and in Revenge of the Sith completely negates Phantom Menace. Like, Phantom Menace isn't a good movie. But you can skip Phantom Menace and you're not missing anything. And that's kind of stupid. Now, in the comments below, have you seen Attack of the Clones? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Chances are you'll probably say you don't like it. Tell me below. Make sure to like and subscribe. This is Jordan from Jordan Reviews, signing off.